Hi everyone, this is Professor Benjamin, and the objective of this video is to walk you through how to complete the population assignment. So at the end of this week, you'll have your first assignment due, and that is the population assignment. You will see here it is at the end of the Session 2 module. You'll see here is an example of the Excel that I would like. It just gives you an example of what the Excel file will look like. And then here is, if you're confused on how to make a bar graph or how to even create an Excel spreadsheet, here are screenshots that can walk you through that process. So I'm just going to open up the assignment, walk you through. Here is the population assignment. Here are the learning outcomes that we will be kind of, assessing while you're doing this learning outcome. This really doesn't pertain to you. It'll pertain to how well I think you have completed the assignment. The objective. So the objective of this assignment is for students to become familiar with human geography terminology, understand spatial variations through graphs and data, and gain an understanding of the demographic process. Use the website pbr.org to research demographic data for a variety of countries. Once the data has been collected, you will be able to become more familiar with demographic measures such as crude birth rate, crude death rate, life expectancy, and a couple other terminologies. So it's a two-part project. You'll be uploading two things for me. Number one, you'll be uploading an Excel file that has your data as well as your 6 graphs. Then the next file that you upload will be a Word document where you use that data to write a brief paper. Okay, so the directions, pick 5 of the countries below, and you'll see here is a list of countries that you can choose from. So you will choose 5 of these countries, and then you will go to pbr.org, and on the PRB, I apologize, the PRB.org website, you will be looking up this information for each of the 5 countries, okay? And here's what you'll do. So if you go to the population, here's the PRB website. It's a fantastic website. You can use this for many classes that you have at CCP to find demographic data, compare demographic data, and they give you a really good background on why these demographic data exist for these specific countries. So here, right under here, you're going to say data, and we're going to click here for international data. If you're going to pick the United States, then you're going to use US indicators as well. International data, and once you're here, you're going to pick your regions and countries. And so there's, from one of the 5. Here's the United States, here's Canada. You can use whatever from that list. So Turkey is one of them, and let's see. I think, there's a bunch on the list, but you can use Denmark. So there are a large amount of countries that you can pick from. And let me just see, here is Turkey. So let me just say, so here's Turkey, and once I click on Turkey, indicators pop up. So this will tell you gross national income per capita, PPP, infant mortality rate. These are all of the questions that I have that I would like you to populate into an Excel spreadsheet. So it's really simple. All the data is here. You now need to just collect that data from this website, put it into an Excel spreadsheet. Once you have it in an Excel spreadsheet, you create the graphs. And then once you create the graphs, the whole objective is for you to use this data and compare it with each other to answer some questions that I have here. The one thing that I find that a lot of students do is that they just regurgitate the data to me. And I don't want that in your paper. Your paper is really for you to explain why. So the why of why these numbers are the way they are. It's not for you to regurgitate the number. Well, the United States life expectancy rate is this, and let's just say, and Afghanistan's is this. I want to know why Afghanistan's is so low compared to the United States, or why the United States is so low compared to, let's say, France life expectancy rate. Why? And the reason why will require more research. And that means you need to look up diets or mental health or war in terms of Afghanistan and some of the other countries. So you need to look up the reasons why the data says what it says. Maybe it's human rights issues. Maybe women in specific countries are are slaughtered, or maybe the children are slaughtered. So in China, for example, the One China Child policy there was a really, really significant infant mortality rate for females. And the reason for that was because of the One Child China policy that was in effect through the fall of 2015 that encouraged the slaughter of female babies. And so that is what I want you to look at, and that is what the paper is about. So make sure you remember that as you're writing your paper, is that if you start quoting numbers, you're headed in the wrong direction for your paper. Okay, so you're going to do the and then you're going to write, once you have assembled your table and analyzed your graphs, you'll write a one-page summary analyzing your data. One page single-spaced, okay? So one page single-spaced. Most likely, your paper will be more than one page single-spaced because you are going to be comparing a lot of data. I give that one page minimum to encourage you to write more. And so that's really important. And while you're writing your paper, I would like you to answer the following questions. Do I want you to write the question and then an answer below? No. I want you to incorporate these questions as you're writing the paper. And so, have a little introduction, go in and kind of answer some of these questions, and then have your conclusion to your paper. So, does there appear to be any trends or relationships between the data? Be specific as to which countries and specifically why there appears to be a trend. Maybe you see a trend. Maybe all the birth rates are a specific amount, and maybe this is the reason why. Or maybe the birth rates are low in a specific country. For example, in the United States, we have a pretty low birth rate, and same in France, and that is because our populations have kind of hit the kind of the peak, and that has to do with economics, education of women, freedom of women, all of that. So right now we are experiencing a 0 to negative population growth in the United States, which is that for every 2 people, only 1.7 children are born. So all of that plays a role. Okay, so there are things. Why is life expectancy high in some countries and low in others? Make sure you look at diet, education. There's a lot of reasons for that. In the United States, you may want to touch on obesity and how for the first time in the history of the United States, our right now generation will actually live less years than the previous generation, and it's never happened before. And one of those reasons is diet. And so you can take a look at that. Okay, you can research that. So you're going to have to research these things on the internet or using journal articles. So there's a lot of research that you're going to have to do in coming up with this. Why are the birth rates and infant mortality rates in some areas low? Areas and high in some areas and low in others? Are any of the developed countries in any of the developed countries were you surprised to find high infant mortality rate? United States is a great example of this. We have a very high infant mortality rate, and one of that is access to medical care. And one of the reasons for that, the why of that, why? Well, the why of that is the fact that insurance in the United States is astronomical. So there's a lot of reasons for these. And so I want you to research these questions and then answer them. So look at your 5 countries, look at the data, say, why is this happening here and this happening there? And then you need to write a one-page single-space paper, at least a one-page single-space paper, answering those questions for me. You also need to include sources in those papers. So at least 2 sources have to be used. Of course, you're going to probably have more than that because you're going to be researching other countries. The library is a fantastic resource. The online library is a fantastic resource for you to use in order to look up data if you would like to look up why things are happening, etc., instead of just using the internet. And so if you have questions on how to use the library resource, I'll show you the link I have and a short video on how to look up journal articles outside of the campus. So if you're like outside of the campus and doing this project, you can look up database articles just from your home computer. Okay, so this gives you just a brief overview of the project. I hope I've answered a lot of your questions. I will be grading you using this rubric below, so you want to make sure you look at this rubric that's below and you are saying to yourself, okay, am I checking all of these boxes? If I'm checking all of these boxes, then I should be getting close to full credit for each item. Okay, so make sure you check out how I'm grading you and why I'm grading you. I think it's really important for students to see. I don't just throw them down my basement stairs and whoever gets an A lands on the top step. No, there's reasons why you receive the grade you receive. So you want to make sure you're checking all those boxes and being able to do that. The other really important thing is this: you'll be uploading your Excel file as well as a separate file containing your 2-page summary. I have 2-page. I will edit that to say 1 single space paper, but you're probably going to have more than that. You know, there's no way that you could probably just write only 1 page unless you're trying to barely get by. The other thing is that you want to remember that the files that are able to be uploaded in Canvas, they have to be in doc format or Excel format. You cannot upload a .pages document to me because that is your Google Doc account, and I can't access your Google Doc account because I am not you. So you want to make sure that you have exported, if you're using Google Docs to write your document, you export your document into Word doc format and then upload it to Canvas. Okay, same with Excel. You're going to need to export that and then upload it to Canvas. Okay, give yourself plenty of time. Of course, this is the first assignment, so you want to make sure you give yourself plenty of time to complete the assignment. If you wait till the last minute, then a lot of times what happens is you're rushing to look at the data and look at how to analyze the data before you submit it. As always, if you have any questions about this assignment, make sure you reach out, and I hope this video just gives you some insight into what my expectations are for the assignment.